Mountains are a delight to paint, and you will always find that most of the times the mountains are found as in a range. It's always a range of mountains, and many a times there will be a range of mountains behind one particular mountain. We will try and consider painting this range of mountains first by choosing appropriate colors. I make use of a lavender color along with some white, then some burnt sienna and yellow ochre and some black. Initially, we will paint first the very far away mountains. Those far mountains are bluish or lavender in color, and they appear as a range of mountains in this way. I first add faraway mountains or distant mountains, followed by some which are a little closer, for which purpose I will have to allow this whole layer to dry. I paint it from top to bottom and allow it to dry. Now this distant range of mountains appears as only shapes. Remember, mountains are never plain triangles. They have edges which are craggy, rough and broken. So after having applied this layer, we will wait for some time for this to dry. Once dry, we can add a touch of a combination of more of that lavender, less white, and add it as a second range which is closer to us. And such a second range of mountains may be shown a little darker. Compared to the first. Use a flat brush for this purpose. And as you can see, the second range seems to be a little darker than the first. Continue adding touches of white into the same mixture till you get lighter and lighter tone lower down. Now here, if we wish to add a mountain somewhere here in the middle, which is pretty tall, I can make use of first a mix of burnt sienna and a touch of black, a little liquid color to just register the shape of the mountain. Remember that the mountains are never absolute triangles. They are broken. So here we go. We paint with the help of the pointed brush. We make some outlines which look, and then with the help of the flat brush, I fill this area with a mix of a hint of black and some burnt sienna. Remember, mountains are craggy in surface. The surfaces appear broken, and therefore if you touch the brush several times and keep an approach of showing broken surfaces by scrubbing, rubbing the brush here and there, your mountains will start looking natural. So I just add the layer of burnt sienna and black and complete the first layer. A little more black to be introduced on this side now, because we presume light strikes the mountain from the top left side. Then you can wipe the brush on a rag and just scratch the surface with the help of the ferrule. This part of the brush is called a ferrule. So that metallic part, when brushed in, it takes off some of the wet color and exposes the paper underneath partially, or the surface underneath partially. We allow this mixture to dry. We now apply to this dry layer a mix of burnt sienna and some yellow ochre, starting off from the edges, covering the edges as precisely as we can. This is because we presume the light to be striking from the left side, and therefore the edges must become brighter than what they were. So a mix of yellow ochre with burnt sienna to be added on top of the earlier layer. Now increase some burnt sienna, increase some yellow ochre in some of these areas and skip some areas and apply crisscross patterns with the help of the flat brush. Remember, the flat brush must be a fresh one, not one which has been used for years, but a fresh one which has got a sharp edge. And we keep applying strokes of the yellow ochre here and there, occasionally touching burnt sienna to it, so that you get areas of burnt sienna and some areas of yellow ochre spread here and there with the help of the flat brush, its sides being used sometimes, and sometimes its edge being used. The edge is used this way, side may be used this way. Then mix a touch of white into the same mixture and add touches of white mixed with the yellow ochre, using the brush as a chisel. using it in a chisel style leaves behind lots of planes. Now these are planes which are rugged and they are very craggy. So the stony mass of the rock starts getting exposed. At the same time, the mountain is sent into areas of light and shadow. Now at moments I introduce some more burnt sienna to make it look more craggy and rough. Then I employ the thin brush which is well pointed, maybe 3 number, and I take a mix of burnt sienna and black very little, and I introduce a few cracks and crevices. Sending the surface of the mountain into areas of light and shadow. Some lights are light, very light, and the others are extreme shadows, especially at the end on the far right side of the mountain where possibly less light reaches. You get to have a feel of extreme dark. So in a vague manner, erratically, I make use of the fine brush and pull down and push the brush haphazardly to create areas of extreme dark, some lights and medium lights. So this is how we can paint mountains which are craggy and with a rough surface. You may add a bird or two with little faint color. And that's about it. So if you have liked this video, please press the like button and share it with your friends and groups and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.